Yeah, wouldn't ends. We back with another one for the youths in them. Yeah, young, brilliant minds, future in sight. Got the power to make change, make the world ignite. Let nobody say you can't achieve. Your dreams are seeds, so and just watch them grow. But you gotta believe in the youth effect. We're raising up the youth effect. Can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Create, initiate, push through, no limits. Go ahead and live it up. Respect, positivity, you on your way. Break down walls, build bridges. Yeah, the youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Never forget your home, but look at where you're going. Keep that passion growing. Youth the heartbeat of a world in motion. So rise up, speak out, start the revolution. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect, can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. For the youths in them. Yeah.
Yes, for the youths and them. And it is party time. It's our first day of the youth effect. Thanks to the T.D.N crew. We want to give them a big shout out for making this possible, as well as everybody else who supported me along this journey. This is the Youth Effect, a radio talk show on Monday nights at 8:30, empowering and advocating with, for, and by the youth. It's going to be a lot about everything about the youth. And the youth will be talking for themselves and bringing their voices out because they have a voice. And this is only a conduit to help them bring forth that voice. And we'll be having a lot of segments and everything for you. And you can also, it's your thing as well. So you can also give suggestions. And as we go along and develop the program and develop everything, our YouTube channel or social media, come along with us for the journey because it's all of us going along together. Tonight we have a wonderful program for you. And I thought it cool to start on building on healthy relationships because everything is about relationships in this world. And as they say, charity begins at home. This thing is going to be all about my personality, right? So I'm just going to be me, real, raw, and authentically me in this. And bringing on Ash the artist, a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful young, are you a millennial? Okay, she'll tell you what she is because you know what? They teach me also what the generations are, who the generations are, and their name. Generation X, Generation Z, Okay, Generation Z. Generation Z. We'll get it, don't worry. That's what this is all about, learning. The youth teaching us, the older ones, how to be there for them, how to be there with them, and how to provide support and resources for them. Because we cannot really speak for the youth. They only know what's going on with them. However, we are there to facilitate their journey and to give them a crutch, a supporting arm to guide them and to help them along the way. That's what we're there for. We're not there to tell them what to do all the time. We're there to guide them. There's a total difference. And today, Miss Ashlyn Pond is going to be here with us to discuss healthy relationships, navigating social media and peer pressure. We know that is one of the major issues a lot of our young people are going through today. And there is a false reality of what they see on social media, and they judge themselves by a standard that is not necessarily realistic. So I'm gonna bring in Ashley Pond, and guess what? She's my daughter, Miss Pond. She's got Ashley Artist. You can get on Instagram as well. And we'll bring another time when talking about gifts and talents and developing your own unique abilities. But today, she's one of my teachers. And I tell her sometimes that, who's your mother? Because she is such a wise person, a wise person for her age. And here is Miss Ashlyn Pond. Hi, Ash.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
You're comfortable?
Yes.
She's a little bit nervous. She doesn't talk like a mommy. A mommy's a talker. She's not. So what are we here to talk about today?
Social media, peer pressure, influence, being influenced on social media and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And she's a little bit nervous because when you see she starts talking and she puts me to be quiet. And if you know me, you know it takes a lot to make me be quiet. So our first point, what about social media today that affects young people? How do you think that the social media pose in young people?
What do you mean? In what sense?
Okay, in terms of building relationships and friends, a lot of things is talking about likes, and they go by likes, and for you page, the algorithm and everything else that's built around the boat. The world has built around that.
Well, if you want to talk in terms of meeting people online, a lot of people meet others by being involved in the niche groups on the internet, and it's very easy to find niche groups that you're interested in. Like TikTok has one of the better algorithms compared to other social medias, in my opinion. Like X, Twitter, or Instagram. TikTok, like if you like one or two videos on TikTok, it's gonna keep feeding you that same niche. So it's easy to get into that niche on TikTok. You can still get into niches you like on other social media platforms, but TikTok makes it really, really easy. But all that to say, like, it's generally easy in overall on any social media platform for you to like a couple posts or videos and then get into being fed all kinds of things from that niche, and then go in comments, you see comments, you like comments, you respond to comments, you start talking to somebody, you make mutuals is like when you follow each other, and then become mutual, start messaging them in privately, and then you become friends. And that's how it can be really easy to meet people with similar interests on the internet. And I think that was really the initial goal of social media, to make it easier to meet people, the same way like Facebook was meant to be a dating thing.
Oh, it was? That was the
Yeah,
initial thing for the Facebook? Hey, no, I know.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was meant to be like easier to meet people and to meet people romantically, and then it just ended up um being able to connect with people in general, not just
And
romantically.
sharing everything and everything. Too much, but
Yeah,
that's for another day.
too much everywhere.
Too much
People do that
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, but what do you think about those type of relationships people meet on social media?
Sometimes it can be good, sometimes like everything, some are good, some are bad. I think it just um comes down to, well, you can't even really say how safe people are, because some people can try to be safe and it still ends up being a weird dynamic. So I think when I think it has a lot to do with outside influences and how people are in real life and how they bring that across on social media. Like, for example, um, let's take the specific situation of a a young adult. Let's take a young adult and let's say they don't have a lot of friends, they don't go out often, but they like these very specific things, and then they found somebody who they have never been able to talk they can talk to about these things, who they've never been able to talk to with anybody else, and then they get like super happy about that, and then they talk to that person every day, and because they talk to that person every day, they feel like, oh, I can be more open with this person, and then they end up being more open with them about personal stuff in their life and stuff. Like, it's just human nature, in my opinion, to open up to someone when you
Don't really know about them.
like if you relate, if you have one thing to relate with and you've never been able to relate to somebody else, and like that person is showing interest in you, I feel like it's human nature for you to feel connected to them enough to feel safe to open up to them.
Do you think it's a young person thing, or it can relate to anybody?
Anybody, but that just depends on everybody has different life experiences, so it just depends on like the kind of life experience an older person might have had for them to be in the situation where they feel comfortable enough to share with a stranger online.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, yeah, I guess it comes down to like having more conversations about like how you interact with people online.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the internet was fresh, you saw a little bit more of people being like, don't talk to strangers online, or like don't share certain bits of information about yourself online.
Right.
And you don't really see
Get
that
a
now.
contract. Get a contract before you go at night. Do a contract before you go at night.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you?
Yeah.
I that's what Ina's joke. Can I share it? Okay, she told me yes. I have to get permission to share stuff. So when she was 13, were you 13 already or older?
15.
When she was 15, they were not allowed, they did not have any social media. Because yes, I was a very protective parent. Like I was very careful, and she and her younger sister, who was 3.5 years younger, come asking for them to have, was it TikTok?
No, TikTok wasn't there.
TikTok wasn't there yet. Instagram.
Adana wanted.
They wanted anyway. They wanted to social
I wanted
media.
Snapchat.
Right, Snapchat.
Adana wanted Instagram.
And the younger one wanted Instagram.
I think.
And so I asked, what is the purpose? Why do you all need social media? You all have friends. So what is the purpose of that? And if you're gonna have it, how are you going to manage it? What did you all do?
Wrote up a contract with our own rules for how we would manage our social media.
And what were some of the guidelines that you had to go with?
We had specific hours we could and couldn't use it. Couldn't talk to strangers. We could only add our friends, and mommy had to make an account for her to follow us so that she could monitor what was happening on it. And she would have the passwords for it so that she could check it as well. That's all I can remember.
And I didn't tell them, I guess, in how they were raised, they knew the expectations. And so up to this day, I still have those passwords. And can you imagine they come and ask me for it sometimes? But what's the password for this? I have all passwords. This was my thing. I had to have all the passwords. So I could check, and I had to be a friend of those accounts. Because in talking about relationships, it's not always about just saying no, but is in guiding along the way. Because as we were all young, when our parents tell us no, that was the green light for us to go ahead and see, okay, so what are you keeping us away from? And some children, they will still go ahead and make their secret accounts. The best thing to do is be along and join in the journey and encourage that level of trust.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
How has that been for you in helping you now to navigate social media?
I don't talk to people on social media. I don't comment. I don't message people. I don't do anything. I'm what they call a lurker.
That's a word for
Yes.
the social media. So a lurker. Okay.
Yes. What you taking notes?
Me taking notes. Yes. Go ahead.
It's like when you just there to watch, you just watch videos or read posts and you like. Some people don't even like. I like them sometimes, and I have like folders and stuff, but you don't like interact besides that with any of the videos.
How do you decide what to follow and what not to follow? Or what may be a good thing or what may not be a good thing? I was discussing with you the other day an article I was reading about a youth study where they spoke about brain rot.
Yeah.
Could you expand on that? Well, in regards to because as adults,
speaking about brain rot with a
Yeah,
victim.
yes. Because I mean, as an adult, we normally say, well, quote unquote, an older person, we normally say, "Oh, you're just spending wasting all your time on social media."
And that's true.
Okay, so tell me what it is about. What the
Well,
brain
it
rot is and all
depends.
things.
Because when you talk about brain rot, I don't think that was, I don't know where it came from, honestly. I don't think it was like a specific, like proper thing. I think it's just a word that was brought on to talk about like how much content isn't that how much content people are consuming that isn't like
Productive.
Yeah. Like
It's just to make you
doesn't have any substance
That's
to it.
sweet, yeah.
So like I feel like depending on which side of TikTok you're on, it's very easy to just be like on TikTok and always pass by. Always pass by, and you like you look at the time, you get on, like for example, on Saturday, I got on TikTok at like 11 a.m. and I'm just lying down, minding my business, and then I check the time.
Minding our business is right.
I checked the time, and it was like minutes to 3, and I was like,
how did that happen?
Where did the time go? Okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like it's something about like being stimulated in so many different ways continuously. It just keeps you there.
Yeah.
Like I would be on TikTok and within 1 hour I'm seeing videos about Palestine. I'm seeing videos about like the election, the
November elections.
I'm seeing like a video about a couple online. There's drama with the couple. Not really drama. It's like people are shipping them because they have good chemistry. But anyway, I'm seeing video like all of that. I'm seeing like
and just keeps you
different
captivated.
Things. So like you don't. It kind of feels like you're just stuck there because you want to see what you're gonna get
What's next?
like what's coming
But
next.
all that is part of your algorithm, isn't it?
Yes.
So how do you build up an algorithm?
It feeds you like the normal stuff first, like normal stuff that they think most people would like, but like that's like dancing videos or like very typical surface level like joke videos or whatever. And then when you find the very first video you find that you like and you press like on it, it's gonna start feeding you more videos like that. So as you like more videos, it feeds you more videos like what you like, obviously. And then so like over time it's like how you would curate anything, really. Like if you creating I don't know, like it's like
building a library.
Yeah, like building a library or like making a scrapbook or something. I wouldn't compare TikTok to a scrapbook, but
maybe scrapbook is right.
Okay.
Maybe scrapbook is right. But yeah, so that is one of the way you can, as we're talking about navigating how you select and things come up on your For You page and everything else.
But yeah, to go back to like to take all of that and go back to brain rot. That's why people call it brain rot, because like you just taking in so many things, and it's like a lot of it is not like giving you anything good. Like it's not like anything for you to keep in your mind. So then people are like, oh, it's just brain rot.
Okay.
I have a lot of information about things that don't really matter. A lot of things that are happening on the internet that don't matter. People make a fuss over situations that don't need to be made a fuss about, and they're just in my mind. I mean, it's good for a talking point for like 20 minutes, but it's just there. So,
and for good conversation sometimes.
I mean, yeah, you can
and
have a conversation
and laughs.
Yeah, but it's not good to be like just on TikTok for hours at a time, and then you come off and you don't know what you were looking at in the end. You know, like you take that, compare it to a 3-hour-long documentary type video on YouTube. Like, yes, you're looking at a screen, but
so what kind of documentaries would you recommend to counteract the brain rot?
I don't think you can counteract brain rot. It just is what it is.
Okay.
Just don't scroll like hours at a time. I wouldn't call it. YouTube can have brain rot. You can have brain rot from YouTube because there's also trash on YouTube, but I think it's just like more variety to what you can have on YouTube. Yeah, like the kinds of videos that I watch on YouTube are that sound like nar. Brain rot coming through.
There we go. I'm developing brain rot.
You don't get that joke. I don't know if people get that joke. The nar. People make fun of Australians for how they say no.
Oh, so that came from the internet. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a whole thing because there's a show called H2O. And
that's what we're talking about. That's what we have at home all the time. This kind of conversations.
There's a show called H2O about mermaids, and like if they get splashed with water, if water gets on them, they turn into a mermaid. So they have to run to find a body of water for them to go into, so that they don't like become a mermaid in the open or whatever.
That was a movie. That was a movie. Do you remember Tom Hanks and Splash? Was it Splash? It's before her time.
There's lots of movies with that premise.
Well, that was the original movie about the mermaid and getting splashed and getting coming out of the sea and turning into human, and when water touches her, she turns. Anyway, let's go back.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah. I think it's a Splash.
Oh, you said Tom Hanks, and then you were talking about the mermaid.
The mermaid.
My brain went to, for some reason, Brendan Fraser, because he was in a movie called Whale.
Okay.
But that has nothing to do with mermaids.
Okay.
So I don't know. What was I saying?
You're talking about the brain rot. How it goes around in circles.
I was going to say about the nerd.
The nerd, and you're talking about the Australians as well.
Yeah, because there was a show called H2O, and then because of that, because they couldn't get splashed with water, there was a specific line in the show where one of the characters got the condensation from the water touched her, and then some her friend was like, "Claire, no, the water, the condensation."
Okay.
I can't do it. Anyway.
That's a young person's joke.
Anyway.
Yeah. So in terms of all of that, when we're talking about going through, how do you? I know one of the things is people are afraid also in posting things because of the comments that they might get, critical comments, and it also helps them in terms of building relationships. What is healthy, what is not healthy? Because we're focusing on what is healthy, and we're gonna go now into diverge a little bit into peer pressure with regards to how the engagement is on social media.
Because it's really easy to get into trends. And when we think about trends, that's the thing about the internet. There's so many different niches that something can be trending, and a lot of people don't know about it. But like to that specific niche, it's huge.
Okay.
So like,
so tell me something that's trending right now that I have of course, I would have no knowledge of it.
Right now, the only trends that I've seen there's a trend called subtle foreshadowing, where something really dramatic happens and they keep cutting back to that end result in the beginning of the video. So like, for example, there's this a really good one where the girl, okay, it's not a good thing that happened to her. She fell over the railing of the stairs. She's fine. But she fell over the railing of the stairs. Now, in the beginning, she's just dancing. She's dancing, and then all of a sudden, you see her cut to her on the floor on the other side of the railing, and then it cuts back to her dancing, and then it keeps cutting back and forth until you actually see her fall over. And it's not funny when I explain it. But
okay, so what's the trending? Maybe we can.
The point is the trend is the subtle foreshadowing of something dramatic happening, and you cutting back to that, back and forth between.
You call it subtle foreshadowing.
I guess the joke is that it's not subtle. It's straight up showing you what happened.
It's an ironic kind of a thing. Okay.
Yes.
It's a play on words. Okay, subtle. Yeah, me taking notes again.
Is your pen dying?
Yeah, I use a pencil.
Well, I mean, you can write it down. It's probably going and die out as a trend within the next couple days.
I know. That's the thing with the internet. By the time we get to learn about it, it's already gone.
But the point is, a lot of people wouldn't know about subtle foreshadowing because it's probably just like what I'm seeing or what a few of my friends are seeing on our For You page. Okay. Like, because I've gotten a few videos that have the same, like, use the same joke, and I would think, oh, this is a trending joke, and I go back to see how many posts it has, and it has like 4,000 posts, which is not a lot for something.
What would be a lot? What would you consider a lot with regards for persons feeling they need to be belonging in that particular trend?
Maybe 500,000.
500,000. Okay.
100. If their video gets 100,000 likes, I think that's
100,000 likes. So that's.
I meant like 500,000 in terms of like how many people are doing the trend. I feel like that's viral that's a good viral kind of thing.
That's the standard to say.
I would say standard. That's how I think of it.
Okay.
Well,
okay. When I say standard, that may be the minimum that they might need to consider themselves part of the.
I don't know. Everybody has a different idea of what they consider trending.
Okay.
So like for me, if I see a trend has 200 to 500,000 videos, I guess I would consider it trending.
Okay.
But other people have different ways that they would identify something as trending. Okay. So like we could look at a middle school, and all the middle schools know something that's going on. Middle schoolers know something that's going on. Nobody else outside of that middle school knows what's going on.
Like the set of students I taught.
But
thank you, Mr. Drago. Thank you. This is the natural thing that we have. Yes, thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah. But so I want you to tell me or to share with us, how does that now bring into peer pressure?
Okay, so like if I feel like it more well, on the internet you more see it affecting younger kids in terms of like, oh, they'll see like an influencer that they really like doing something, and then they'll be like, oh, let me do it too, and then they'll go and do it, and then
When you say younger kids, about what age bracket would you put it? You had
middle
experience.
schoolers,
Okay. Tell some of us what the middle
maybe high
schoolers.
schoolers, maybe like freshmen, fresh high schoolers, first second year high schoolers.
Okay.
Maybe that's how I think of it. But
you think these are the more influential?
I think they're most
group?
influenced just because of they're in puberty.
Yeah.
It's expected, but you've seen a lot of older teenagers, young adults do things, and you're like,
really?
Why would you do that? But different people, different stages of life, so
yeah, different experiences.
So, but I do feel like preteens, younger teenagers, middle schoolers, like that's the age that see things online, and then they see people do it, and they want to try it, or they think they can do it, and at that age they really do think they can do it.
Invincible.
So
yeah,
you see them go and do things, and you're like, no. And it's like I said, they don't have the caution that we had when the internet was just starting. So they know how to use the internet, but they're not as cautious about the internet. I mean, a lot of people have lost their caution with the internet.
But do you think they knew from the get-go what caution should be?
No, that's what I'm saying. They never had the opportunity.
Hey, girl. Thank you.
Yeah, they never had the opportunity because they don't get those classes. I don't think they don't get talked to about the internet as often as when it was fresh or just starting.
And a lot of children, being a teacher for a while, one of the things that my observations was that so many of our young children that age, middle schoolers and everything else, thank you, Brown Rose, are raising themselves because parents are so focused on working. Some parents have 2 jobs, single parents.
That's what is that word?
Intersectionality.
Because lots of different things contribute to, like, everything is intertwined. So like things are getting expensive, parents have to work more, less time with their kids don't have help with doing much of anything, and then they have to entertain themselves. Where do they go to entertain themselves if they don't have brothers? Even if they do have brothers and sisters, where do they go to entertain themselves? They go on the internet, and then they go and then they find, if they're one of the unlucky ones, a bad influencer that has bad values, and then they look up to that influencer, and then they learn bad skills, bad morals, bad lessons, whatever, and then they become a person where their parent is like, how did you end up like that? I didn't teach you that. But where did
the lack of guidance? Maybe not the lack of guidance, I should say the lack of supervision. What do you think?
Yeah,
could be.
Yeah, I think also parents are, what I've seen online, which is ironic, is that a lot of the younger parents now, like young 20s, when they have their toddlers, apparently they're like really just sticking them in front of the TV or in front of the iPad, and it's just
lack of parenting skills, do you think? Because before, may I add, as an older person here, before our generation, it takes a village to raise a child, which raised them. A village, I cannot take all the credit for raising them. But now the world is such an individual space. It speaks so much about I, and do not touch my child, or do not tell my child anything, do not correct my child. And
I mean, people have a right to their boundaries, but I understand what you're saying.
People have a right to their boundaries, but at the same time, what I'm saying is there are positive
it's good to have different people bring good values to the
Right,
children.
because as I said before, it was a village. Mind you, there's still boundaries because sometimes our generation before we want to raise our children differently. But now that it is such an individual role that parents and the younger parents do not have the older people there to help them because a lot of people are on their own right now.
Yeah.
Individuals, families are split all over. You have a sister in one state, another sister in another state. People are really living isolated lives.
Yeah.
And it is hard to get support with regards to extended families, which help. Um, a lot of times, extended families are now developed through friendships. I developed my friendships and my fam and my village with the girls through um, developing friendships at school, being totally involved in everything. PTA, people used to think I was a teacher. Everything at school, I was involved. So I got involved in knowing other families. They have a friend, they have to bring the friend home first. They have to bring the friend home. It's nothing like I have to meet the parents. Because we live in this different society, it can be they're very difficult, but still, there needs to be a way
I
of
feel like there's also that's also a fact of us living in the Caribbean compared to living in the States.
yes, as I said, in this society, a little bit differently, but still, we can still find some way of getting to know people and developing bonds with people because even when we move to the States, we still develop that bonds with other families and other relationships. It's the Caribbean in us. It will never go away. You take the person away from the Caribbean, but you can't take the Caribbean away from us. So we'll still want to know who your family is. We'll still want to know what kind of values you have. And you don't have the values, to stay away from my kids. Period. Yes. But what coming back to the point, the young people who have grown up in a different society with different demographics do not have those values, do not have those cultural instincts in them. Intentionality. Thank you very much, Tony. Yeah, that's a very great word. And as we were speaking about last week too, we brought it up, intentional parenting. And a lot of people do not know how to do that. And this is one of the things that our program, yes.
I was gonna say that's gentle parenting is getting a lot of pushback on the internet. Gentle parenting, you know.
Tell me.
Do you know what it is?
Tell me.
Gentle parenting is I don't know how they properly the definition is, but it's basically just like the parents figuring out what core values they want their child to have and being able to instill that in a soft way instead of bringing it across harsh and like continuously it's having a continuous
continuum in terms of
what is the word not continuous consistent having a consistent way of teaching their child those basic morals,
okay,
so that
let's have
it can be
put it in context. Would you consider what I did gentle parenting or authoritarian parenting?
Yeah, because it would like, okay, so like for example, if a child is being mean to other children in school, right? Let's say that, and the parent wants to have a gentle parenting method, they would be like talking to the kid, explaining why that's not nice, explaining why the other person might feel bad, explain the consequences of those actions. And even though children are obviously not going to get it immediately, but if you continuously explain to them why they shouldn't do something, I think that's what it, like the point is.
Yeah.
To like, and to make sure
to explain
that,
why. If you understand,
to explain why.
If you understand why, which is always my thing.
Making them understand.
If you understand why, then you will know how to behave the next time because you have the basic foundation for the behavior.
Yes.
So why is it getting pushback?
Because a lot of people are like, oh, you're being too soft on the kids, you're spoiling them, they're not gonna learn anything like that. But in my mind, I'm like,
you're learned. And you all are good children.
I mean, yes, but that's not the point.
What is the point? And sometimes we have to blow our own trumpets. I raised two great girls, and I will blow my own trumpet and I'll pat my back. Go ahead now.
Okay. It's like, you see, I forget what I was going to say.
Gentle parenting. Gentle parenting. Let's come back. Let's come back.
I forget what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
mommy does that all the time. Okay, you were talking about the pushback they're getting, and in terms of them understanding why, making a child understand why.
Oh,
But
yeah,
you can
because
understand why too, where pressure comes, because if a child is not really taught values or not understand the basic
yeah,
foundation
yeah.
of where their strength comes from, even us as adults, one of the things we're going back to is to vision planning, vision mapping. What are our core values? Because our core values are what determine how we behave or how we think, and then determines what actions we take in our life,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then based on that, it determines what our character is, because our values determine our character building,
Mhm.
right? You agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where it comes in. But this society can be so hypocritical in those regards, because if no parents become harsh, they call abuse.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
So where's the balance? How do we strike the balance in having our children understand their values, understand where they are at, in order to be able to navigate through life? Because right now, social media is what is life. Peer pressure is your friends. You spend 8 hours in a classroom with friends. This is your world.
Yeah.
Basically. And we will come back to that, but there is peer pressure and abuse that can happen in the workplace as well.
Yeah.
You know, so when you spend such a limited amount of time, by the time you get home in the evening, you're tired. You spend a small amount of time with your family. Most of your time is spent outside, in school, with other people. Now you feel influenced by, you hear what they're saying, you hear what they do. Sometimes it's not real, because people want to create this facade all the time, and then you want to be like them. And the next amount of time you spend when you're at home, it's on these devices, which takes up the other little bit of time that you have, getting influenced by certain things that are not really true as well. So how do we teach our children, or how would the young people like yourself be open to adults, or to open to somebody helping you understand how to go about it?
I think it's important to encourage people on when they show interest in something. So like if somebody shows interest in, let's say a seventh grader is expressing an interest in crocheting, and then the other kids in the seventh grade are like, oh, that's weird, right? I feel like it's important for the adults in that situation to encourage that seventh grader to pursue crocheting, and to like make sure that to help them to understand that it's, even though other people are giving them pushback, like it's okay
to be yourself.
it's okay to like things that other people don't like. It's okay to now.
Let me ask you a question. Do you keep on saying I feel? Do you feel that way, or you believe that way? Because there's a difference in conviction. Do you feel that way, or do you believe that that's what should be done for the young people in terms of encouraging them? Because I feel it's a continuum. I feel can be like on a scale of 1, and I can be really strongly convicted in that belief that this is what that can help the young people.
Yeah.
You believe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's continue. Yeah.
I believe they should be welcome. Not they should feel welcome to experiment and express themselves at a young age, so that it's more difficult to be swayed by people. But that can also be like I don't know. I feel like peer pressure is like kind of a gray.
It's a great area,
too.
yeah.
'Cause-
So maybe Brahms is saying the concept of having them to comprehend, understand, and have a simple visual view for them to see. It has to be brought down to their level at all times because, as I say, we have to be honest and open to with children, but at their level.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
people try to hide things. Children are smart. You will need to give them the credit.
And it's not difficult
And
for them to
resilient.
understand things either.
No, it's
like
not.
you don't have to like explain in the most like complex jargon for all things. Like you could literally dumb down any idea and they would understand it. And that's another thing too. People like you said, people like to hide things from kids. They go in and figure it out, and they go in and if you don't explain to them, they're gonna find out themselves, and then you don't want them to find out themselves.
So, exactly. And when we're coming back about the peer pressure thing, when you were just referring to, I would think it's about being a safe space.
Yes.
For children to have to feel safe, for them to be able to experiment and know that it's not about failing. Because failing is a lesson. You know how many millionaires failed before they made that first million?
Let's not compare children to millionaires.
Okay, we're not comparing children to millionaires, but still, you know what I'm talking about. You have to fall down a couple times and then learn the lesson, so you know not to do this time, and tomorrow you learn the lesson and do it differently. But you know another thing too, so many inventions and everything came out of supposed failures. People and children need to feel safe to experiment because we will come all about understanding about identity crisis and all those things too, because it's in all that space and safety in exposing themselves and exploring to be able to understand who they are.
But also having a safe environment, an environment where you feel comfortable enough to talk about your interests, leads the parent to have a bit of control in guiding them to make sure that they're not going down the wrong path. So like they can express their interest in different things and follow me on this.
I am.
Okay. My point is, right? They're going to express interest in different things. Lots of things on the internet seem very innocent, but have a very evil undertone to it. So, as a parent, I think it should be. I think interest should be welcomed, but also monitored so that you know that they're exploring their interest in a safe way. Example, right? What I mean when I say things seem innocent but have an evil undertone to it. An example is...
We're going to let you finish your thought and then we're going to take a break.
Okay.
The
example is there was a content creator that made dresses like in princess dresses, so big and poofy and grand and stuff. And there would be people that asked her to like poof her dress, which would be like when they're big and poofy like a cupcake, you would go up and then when you sit down it makes the poof thing. Apparently that's a kink online. And the people that were asking her to do it were using it for kinky stuff. Putting it online and using it for kinky stuff. And when she found out, she's like, I didn't know that was a thing. I was innocently doing it because it looks cool, but like people were using it for their own bad intentions. And a lot of people in the comments were saying the same thing too. Like nobody knew it was except those niche people knew it was a kink.
So we have to be careful.
You help them explore their interests and guide them, but like also be careful about
what
they're doing and how they're like going about it.
And with that thought, we're gonna take a break.
Yeah, young, brilliant minds, future in sight. Got the power to make change, make the world ignite. Let nobody say you can't achieve. Your dreams are seeds, sow and just watch them grow. But you gotta believe in the youth effect. We're raising up the youth effect. Can't hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud.
A smart house run by a vengeful AI. A mute witness to an act of unspeakable evil. A breadfruit thief is haunted. A young man unwittingly creates a god. Giant crapos terrorize a community. A witch seeks revenge on her neighbors, and much more. The Piton Noir Writing Collective is thrilled to announce the release of the third book in their acclaimed anthology series, The Flying Crapo. Flying Crapo, Heroes and Monsters. Now available for purchase on Amazon.com. Get your copy today and embark on a journey filled with heroes, monsters, and the magic of the Caribbean.
Get ready for an electrifying thriller. A fearless New York attorney takes on corrupt corporate giants fighting for the powerless. Can this seasoned attorney and his team take down a monstrous company and its powerful leader? What will be the final verdict? What price will our heroes pay? Find out as you turn the pages of The Trust by Sam George. Get your copy of The Trust today from Amazon.com.
Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect for raising up, the youth effect.
And boundaries. And we are back. A little backstory. Remember a while ago we were talking about children being spoiled? Yeah, I have two kind of spoiled children. And they I'm gonna talk. She keeps on telling me, "You need to give me money every time you talk about me."
And whose fault is that?
And she is asking her sister to do stuff for her. I'm like, "Oh, go ahead." She
Wait,
spoils her.
Wait.
We're talking about
Nobody
healthy
asked to do
relationship,
anything for nobody.
and I'm saying you're too spoiled. And
I
she's
volunteered
like,
my services.
being in a loving environment
Don't
is being
involve yourself.
spoiled. I'll take it. It comes back to what we were talking earlier on when Ashley mentioned about gentle parenting. And we'll talk about spoiling kids. What exactly is spoiling your kid? Because you can discipline your child without punishing your child, and you can still spoil your child and have good, loving children, disciplined, loving children. And as we're talking about that in terms of this is how we go about also building a healthy person, a healthy child in order to develop a healthy relationship. Because if a child doesn't know what the values and everything is, how do we ascertain what a healthy relationship is? So in the last part of our conversation, we're going to focus really on what really constitutes a healthy relationship with regards to seeing everything we've seen on social media, navigating through influences and peer pressure, regardless of what our experiences have been at our home in terms of how we are being raised. And sometimes children can be raised well, but they may still succumb to peer pressure. Right?
The manosphere.
What is that?
The manosphere.
What is the manosphere?
That's a whole other discussion. The long story short, there has been a lot of rise in toxic masculinity online, and men who come online and spew very misogynistic and hateful ideals towards women. And you see a lot of the young boys, and not even just young boys, men in general, you see them like listening to these podcasts and watching these videos, and it almost seems as if they're having like complete switches over like in what their original personalities were. And the people like are, yeah, it's just become like very toxic on
and then one friend leads to the other, and one friend supports each other on that, and you hear them conversing and calling the girls' names, and it comes off in their conversations with each other. Yeah. And then you have to, that's what it means to be a man, right?
Unfortunately. That's what they're saying.
Unfortunately. So how does that help in building the relationships, especially in adolescents and young adults? Or how would we go about using that to develop healthy relationship? What is the opposite to that?
Um, Parents being active in their children's life and explaining different friendship dynamics.
But what if the parent doesn't know?
Doesn't
Because a
know
lot
what?
of times, we think parents know, but a lot of times parents don't know how to, especially in this society that we're living in. You know, these first world societies. A lot of parents do not know because there is conflicting information given them to them because the children are taught in school. Don't tell me what to do, else I'm gonna call the welfare on you.
What?
Because if a parent tell a child not to do this, they think the parent is not in their favor, they're going to call the police for the parent. So parents are conflicted in how to parent, for one. How should I parent? What should I tell my child to do? How can I not tell my child not to do this? Because they are taught differently in the school system. It is a difficult thing to maneuver.
Yeah, because I can understand why in the school system they would make sure that children know that they have a right to call somebody or the authorities when they feel in danger, but at the same time you kind of expect children to know.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's difficult. It's
yeah,
difficult.
because some kids will just call because they feel like, oh, my mother being
Mean.
mean.
Or I'm not getting
call.
what I need to get.
But some kids need to know that information because some children actually
After
do need that information. So it's important to teach them what's available to them if they are going through a difficult situation.
And that brings us to a good part about healthy relationships, boundaries.
Mm.
In terms of when do I call, when do I not call? Parents need to know how to teach boundaries. And we can also have the schools teach parenting classes.
You see, but these things are also complicated because, like, you say parents, we say parents should. Not everybody should be a parent in the first place because there are some people that are parents.
Good point.
Parents should do something for their kids, should do good on their kid, but some parents are the ones telling them this is not abuse. You don't need to be calling for that. The next thing you know, they're actually like physically harming the child, and then the child goes to school having bruises on themselves, and then the teacher's like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, nothing, because they think it's normal.
Yes, they think it's normal because hurts people. And if a parent is hurt because they were abused when they were younger, they're gonna continue the cycle. But that's a conversation for another day.
And that's why I feel people shouldn't have free liberty to just have children. But like,
that's a different
conversation.
That's a different conversation. So you're getting some sense of the conversations that we have at home, right? Very much so. But in terms of developing healthy conversations, as we're coming down to the time here, one of the things we need to teach our children is no. No is a word too. It's a full sentence. ACS, right? ACS, that's what it's called. Thank you. ACS, that's what it's called. They call ACS on the parents. We tend to think, or some people tend to think that, and a lot of people, we have a lot of angry people, a lot of angry adults, angry children, because once somebody tells them no, they now act out in anger, they violence and everything else, because they do not know how to accept boundaries. No is a word for me as well as it's a word for you. And one of the things parents need to exercise the word no to teach their children is okay to hear no. And the child has to say, okay, then I move on. And one of the things I always extol is it's okay to ask. Always ask for something. And it's okay for someone to tell you no. At least you asked. Do not be afraid of asking, right? Never be afraid of asking. And don't be afraid of the word no, because you have to learn it as well to define your boundaries with people. This is healthy. It is okay to say no. if you don't want to be my friend, because I said one of the things, I'll give you an example in raising the girls when they were younger. A lot of things, a lot of parents who children have new toys, especially around Christmas time, they will get new things. And other children will be around and they're all trying to want to play with it. And then the parents will say, the child will cry, no, I don't want to share. And the parents would say, oh, don't be selfish, you have to share. No, no, it's their toy. They have a right to play with it first. They do not have to share. I do not have to share. It's my own. I will share if I choose to. And that's not being selfish. And then when we teach children those things and we tell them they're being selfish, no, they're going to grow up with a guilt complex. That when they grow up, no and stop. Very good, Mr. Tony. Yes, no and stop. That when they do not learn those words, they grow up knowing people abusing them because they feel guilty in saying no or in saying it's time to stop. I've had enough. And we develop a society of what? Sick and hurt people. Sick and hurt people. But it's okay. No, you can call me you capital B. You can call me selfish. You can call me whatever. No is no. That's it. That's all it is. What pushback do you get as a young person when you've heard no, when you've told people no? No. She laughs. You know why she laughs? Tell them why you laugh.
Still working on it.
Still working on it. And every day, even sometimes when I do something and I said, I am sorry, Ash, she said me, it's okay, mommy. I said, no, it's not okay. Even though I'm your mom, it's not okay. It's not okay to yell at you. It's not okay to shout at you. It's not okay to raise my voice at you because there are different ways to bring it across. So she's still working on it. And sometimes I can just hold her because it's scary as a parent to think people are going to take advantage of your child. And so we have to teach no, and we have to teach stop. But when she's ready, she knows very well where her limits are to say that's enough. And then the raw, like a youth effect sound comes out, the raw, she's like, oh, that's you? Yes. Because
Okay.
she knows it. When you plant a seed, plant that seed in your kids. And if you don't have it in you, start doing it now. Boundaries. You'll be much more peaceful as an adult. And we will go back into the inner child. All those little things we're going to talk about the inner
I
child.
was going to say, not just the parent showing the kid, not just the parent showing the child about their boundaries, but respecting the child's boundaries too.
That's right.
Because I feel like a lot, some parents like don't see kids' boundaries as sensical when they don't necessarily have to be sensical. Just respect the child's boundaries. Like,
give me an example. What kind of boundaries?
if they don't want to hug somebody, or if they don't want to eat a certain texture of food, or if they don't like the feel of a shirt, a specific shirt, like things like that, is like it doesn't hurt anybody. If a child says they don't want to hug you and that hurts your feelings, that says more about you as an adult than it does about the child just not wanting to have a hug. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like, it really shouldn't hurt anybody if a child's boundaries are respected. And all it does is show that they are respected as a person, and they're treated as a human rather than just like somebody that's discarded or is not important enough to be respected.
Because children are people too.
Yeah.
Children are people too. Whether they are 0.1 month old, 2 months old, 10 years old, children are people too. And we'll speak to the rights of the child as well, set by the UN, and all those things, in terms of educating ourselves as to what are those rights of children and the basic human rights, humanitarian rights. You have a right as an adult. It starts when you were a child. Who you become as an adult starts from who you were taught to be as a child. The second one, what's your laughing? What nice thing you got there. The second thing is about communication in terms of having good, healthy relationship. in terms of setting boundaries, communication with your friends, communication with yourself, communication with your circle. How does that go for you? What do you think? What do you believe in terms of relationships? Would it constitute as part of factor of making healthy relationship with your friends, with yourself, with your family?
I'm confused. What? Wait, repeat.
Okay,
What's
so
your question?
first we spoke about boundaries.
Yes.
In terms of setting healthy, how do we build up these healthy relationships? Not only for ourselves, but by building up those healthy relationships, and we can also extend them to how we go online and how we establish those relationships with our friends in not being succumb to peer pressure. So that's what we're talking about. What other things do we do to build that healthy system within ourselves to project it out in terms of having a healthy relationship? Did that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think communication is a good thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
But good communication.
What is good communication?
Listening and understanding and being able to act on those understandings.
How do you listen? Because not everybody can listen.
But that's what I'm saying, listening and understanding.
Mhm.
So like somebody can listen to you, that doesn't mean they go in and take that into and they go in and take that information and then make an effort to understand it and then reflect that understanding in their actions.
But there is hearing and there is listening. There is hearing and there is listening. I take hearing to be, I hear you. It passed. I take listening to be a deep form of hearing in terms of listening, of taking in what the person say.
But people can also listen and not reciprocate anything.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's hearing, you're not taking anything in.
Mm-hmm.
There's listening, but you're not going to reciprocate.
Okay.
And then there's listening, understanding, and reciprocating.
And that is taught though, because as you believe communication happens naturally, is a natural process for people.
Probably not good communication. Yeah,
I believe it's taught.
No, I'm agreeing. I'm just saying, like,
you know, a couple of years ago, there was this little boy on the thing, and I had to learn from that. That was one of the things that taught me how to listen. Because remember, I didn't really used to listen to you all, and then remember that little thing, and then Adana, my younger daughter, used to say, "Listen, Linda, listen." Remember the little boy, the little Spanish boy dancing, and his mother wasn't listening to him, and he was probably mimicking his dad.
Linda, listen,
Linda, listen. And every time I don't listen, or my daughter would tell me, "Mommy, you're too quick. Listen, stop, listen." She says, "You're too quick, Mommy. Listen, stop, listen before you speak. Listen, understand." And sometimes we listen to people or we hear people, but we do not listen because we are thinking of what our response is going to be. But then we're not hearing what they're saying, and then we cannot process what it is that we're going to answer. I call it sometimes a gap. There is a gap or a space between when somebody says something and before we either respond or we react. We're going to react, there's no gap. We just bam, based on our traumas, our experiences, and our triggers.
Close to my face.
Close to my face, boom. And then there's the gap where we stop, we process, we listen, we hear it, we internalize it, and then we respond. There's a difference between reaction and response.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
And sometimes our response doesn't have to come every day, and sometimes we don't have to respond at all. We don't have to reciprocate, right?
Yeah. But
do we have to reciprocate for everything we hear?
You don't have to reciprocate, but I feel like
because silence is communicating too. No response.
Situational.
And no response is a response.
Situational.
Okay, what do you mean? Explain.
I feel like ghosting people is not very nice.
Okay, definitely. Not that it's very nice. It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
And we have to take that. So explain to people who do not know what ghosting is, because there are some adults who are listening. And I only found out 2 years ago what ghosting was done to me. And they explained to me that I was being ghosted. Explain what is ghosting.
When somebody just cuts all communication without explaining or saying anything further, like they just stop responding to you, stop messaging you, stop anything.
But they're reading your messages.
Oh, they were reading your messages.
Oh. It's amazing when you can laugh about things a couple years later. You know what they say? If something has you miserable at this point in time, think about 2 to 5 years down the road and see if it's gonna affect you. And then you know you can do better and you just say,
Reading your messages and not responding.
reading the messages. But wouldn't that be what ghosting is too?
Ghosting, you're not supposed to. Ghosting, I feel like ghosting wouldn't be reading that. Okay, yes, they ghosted you, but that's intentionally that's being like another step of
abusive. That's abusive.
Yes,
that's emotional abuse.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, oh, I'm here, but I'm not gonna respond to you.
Yes, and you don't have to succumb to that in any relationship. If someone doesn't respond to you, if they cannot respect your boundaries, if you say no and they try to punish you in some sort of way, that's not a healthy friendship. You need to get away from that, and you will find new friends. There are so many different ways of finding new friends. And one of the things, I will always go back to my parenting things with the girls. When Ashlyn was in college, she's, as I said, she's an artist. You can find her on Instagram as Ash the Artist. She couldn't find a group, and I told her, go create your arts group. Go create your art group. And then she went. And as I said that, my producer told me during the show to say where we can find us on T.D.N Radio Caribbean. And it totally slipped me, a little bit anxious and nervous doing this.
Didn't you say that at the beginning?
I said that on my little Facebook Live in terms of advocating it. I didn't say it on the program. It's a little bit late, but some of you are already there, but it's fine. There are other ways that you can find us on T.D.N Radio, T.D.N Caribbean, on YouTube, T.D.N YouTube. So yeah. So say, as we have listeners on T.D.N Radio and SBA Radio, and viewers on Facebook, YouTube, and T.D.N TV. Okay, remember you are tuned in to what? The youth effect.
Yeah.
Which ripples through the young people rippling through. Don't worry, I'll get it done packed. Don't worry, today is the first day. Yeah. Come back next week. We'll be getting better and better and better all the time. Give your suggestions for topics that you're interested in learning as well about your young people. Okay. So tonight we're speaking about healthy relationships. And so far we've spoken about how we navigate social media, the young persons, and how they develop their niche, influenced by certain trends on social media and peer pressure that they can be succumbed to because sometimes of lifestyles, with parenting lifestyles, family lifestyles, and how we can now overcome that in terms of school, in the school system. And we're talking about boundary setting boundaries, how to say no, how to say stop. And now we're talking about good communication and what good communication is in terms of which can lead to the opposite end in terms of ghosting, which is emotional abuse. All right. So we have to give them their labels and call them out for what they are. Right?
Yeah.
Call them out for what they are. And in anything else, you have to know you have value, because we're coming down to the end of the program. We all know that you are of value. And once you do not feel good about something, it is wrong, because the innate nature of you is to be authentically beautiful. Okay, to be authentically beautiful and to be respected and to be valued. This is who you are, and this is who God made you to be. Whoever God is for you. You are beautiful. As the Bible says, you are beautifully and wonderfully made. Yes.
And even if you might not believe in God, everybody still deserves basic respect and has their basic value. Like no matter what you believe in or whatever, you have your value as a person.
Yes.
So yeah, just want to add that.
And we're all interconnected into the universe. And once you know something is off, once you feel that knot and discomfort within you, we call it
Intuition.
dissonance,
Oh.
cognitive dissonance, when it goes against something that you want to do or something that's going on in your life that goes against your basic value. You may not be able to identify what that core value is of your life, but you know it. It's innately within you. It has been built in you. Okay? Based on your experiences and stuff. You may not be able to label it, but it's there. So once something goes against that and it triggers you for a level of discomfort, no, it's you need to get away from that. It's not good for you. All right? And trust yourself, and it's okay. There's a difference between aloneness and loneliness. You will find your niche and you will find your tribe. Trust yourself. Okay? And as we go down into the last things, few minutes, I want to give you there is I wanted to have it. Let me get it. I'll get it.
What are you getting?
I am getting this quote from the prophet on friendship. Khalil Gibran. I know I should have had it already. Okay. I know my children always tells me that a marriage. Here we go.
Got it?
No.
No. See what
Yes,
happens?
yes, I know. So Khalil Gibran says, in friendship, right? You give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping. For only the hand of life can contain your hearts. But okay, this is not what I want, but it says, I know what it's what I want to say. It says, we say we're gonna kill time with people. No, let your time be filled with that other person. It's not about killing time, it's about filling your time with your friend. Filling your time with your friend. And it's okay to be individuals, because sometimes we want all our friends to be there for us. No, your friend doesn't have to be inside of you all the time. There is an individuality that needs to exist. So when you come together with your friend, you share that level of experience. And that's what a healthy relationship is all about. Not being into each other and being stuck onto each other and everything else. But let your moments before the spending of time with each other, spending life with each other, not for killing time. I leave you that as your homework. Go find what Khalil Gibran, the prophet, says about friendship, about spending time with each other, about loving each other, and having healthy relationship with yourself and with your friend. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. We have a wonderful program for you next week coming up. I'm so excited about it too. And 8:30, T.D.N Radio, T.D.N Network, SBE Radio, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Roku, all those wonderful places. Yes, T.D.N TV. See you next week. Be sure to tune in. You can find Ash the Artist on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yes, Ash the Artist on Instagram, as well as Ashlyn.com. You can also find me. Ashlyn.pond. Ashlyn.pond.
AISLINN.POND.
AIS.
LINN. No H.
.POND. Her name is Gaelic. Yes, mommy named her that funny name. It means inspiration, and you can see how she has been an inspiration to me. Lovely child. So thank you for joining us on this wonderful, wonderful launch of our Youth Effect. See you next week and enjoy the rest of your week. Okay? Blessings. Thank you.
Okay, slip.
The youth effect shall hold us down. The youth effect, we breaking ground. The youth effect, they gonna hear us roar. Educate, we get the key, unlock the potential. A lesson every day, knowledge essential. Standing tall, walking proud, let your voice be heard. Unite together as one, spread the love with every word. The youth effect, we're raising up. The youth effect shall